One area you should address fairly frequently are your hemp joints and how snugly they fit together. Joints into the stalks, the chanter, the blowpipe, and the drones, should be snug. You can turn them, but not easily. The tuning slides should be looser. You should be able to turn these with just 2 or 3 fingers. This will help you to tune very accurately. One thing you need to watch for is what we call turning hemp. This occurs when hemp is on the joint so loose that the whole wind will turn from one side to the other, like this. If you have a joint that does this, you'll need to cut the hemp off and re-wrap it. You should check all the hemp joints on your new bagpipe, and if they turn, re-hemp them. As you listen to the sound of Rob Crabtree playing, you'll hear the qualities of a well-set chanter. It is bright, it projects, it's clear, and it's accurately tuned. And as you can see, it's not very hard to blow. Chances are, if your chanter is no more than 20 years old and was made by a reputable manufacturer, it will set up to play quite nicely. But you must select a good reed. Selecting the right reed and getting it to play properly is probably the single most important element in the sound and playability of your instrument. The chanter reed is made from blades of Spanish cane wrapped around a copper or brass staple or tube using waterproof wrappings. Because reed blades are handmade from natural materials, they all come out differently in terms of strength, pitch, response, volume, and how long they will last. There are lots of variables, so proper selection of your chanter reed is important in creating a good chanter sound. Order your reeds from the supplier at least 6 at a time to ensure that you'll get at least 1 or 2 that work well for you. Specify the strength you want, hard, medium, or easy. Pick up one of your 6 reeds. You're now going to want to blow the reed in your mouth, but you want to do so in such a way that you don't get any moisture on the cane blades. The only contact with the reed should be with the waterproof wrappings. Put the reed in your mouth and blow it. You should hear a high-pitched squealing sound like this. If the reed is the right strength for you, you should be able to blow right through that screech to a solid tone, like this. This seems like it's going to be a pretty good reed. If you can't get a sound out of the reed, or you can't blow through the screech, locate the shoulders on the reed. The shoulder is usually in the middle of the blade, where the blade starts to thin out. This is also called the sound box. Put your thumb and forefinger over the sound box and squeeze until the tips of the blades come together. If it's a very heavy-shouldered reed like this one, you should be able to squeeze fairly firmly. If it's a reed with a less pronounced shoulder, what we call a profiled or molded reed like this one, your squeezing should be more gentle. Squeeze until the reed tips come together and release. Massage the reed gently like this for 20 or 30 seconds to warm and stretch the cane. Now that you've squeezed the reed, blow it again. If it's not easier, squeeze it again, more firmly this time. Blow it. If you still can't get it to sound the way you want to, you might want to set it aside. We'll talk about what to do with these reeds later. This whole evaluation process should take you less than a minute. We now want to seat the reed in the chanter. Grasp the reed by the wrappings between your thumb and forefinger like this. Gently twist and push it into the reed seat so it doesn't wobble or fall out. Now, blow a few notes of the scale in your mouth. If the reed is still a little bit strong for you, try the squeezing techniques again. How do you tell if a reed is the right strength or comfort level for you? A good measure is to blow the reed in your mouth and see if you can sustain a sound for between 8 and 10 seconds. If you can, that will probably be a pretty good reed. If you can't, you're going to struggle with your pipes. Don't commit yourself to a reed that is too strong. It will dramatically reduce the enjoyment and musicality of your playing. Once you have found a reed that's the right strength for you, we'll want to check the basic tuning before we commit to it. We're going to blow the reed in our mouth and check the interval between the low A and the high A. You want an accurate interval like this. You don't want a high A that's flat or sharp compared to the low A. Most of you will be able to hear whether the octave is accurate or not. If you can't, you might want to invest $30 or $40 in a tuning meter that reads pipes well. You can buy one of these from your piping supplier or from a general music store, and they'll be happy to show you how to use it. If you have a reed where the high A is slightly flatter than the low A, like this, gently turn and twist the reed, push it further into the reed seat. This will sharpen the pitch of the whole reed, but it will sharpen the top hand notes a little bit more and bring the chanter into balance. Conversely, if your high A is sharp compared to the low A, you want to lift the reed in the reed seat just a bit. You may have to put some hemp around the bottom to do this. Again, this will flatten the whole pitch a bit, but will flatten the top hand notes a little bit more, and the chanter will come into balance. Once you have an octave that you're happy with, blow the chanter in your mouth again and go up the scale. Listen for any very distorted or flat notes, such as this. That's a very flat F. You may also hear a dipping F, which sounds very choked off. Sometimes you'll get a reed with a particularly flat note or a dipping F or high G. You can probably get that reed to work, but I'd suggest you try to work with something else. If you have a chanter reed that is easy enough for you to blow, has an accurate octave from low A to high A, and no flat or distorted notes, you now have a reed you can try in your bagpipe. When you try your new reed in your chanter and in your bagpipe, you may want to cork your drones up, especially if the reed's a little bit hard initially. One of the things that's going to happen to your reed over the first few days or weeks that you play it is it's going to change a little bit. It may become easier. It may actually get harder. It may sharpen up a little bit. This is called blowing in the reed. Reeds from different makers blow in different ways, and with experience, you'll learn how your reed maker's reed blows in, and you'll start to factor that into the selection process. We now have a reed that goes well in this chanter and that I can blow comfortably in my bagpipe. My next job is to tune it. That's the subject of another video. What do you do with those reeds that were too hard to blow? One possible solution is an elastic band bridle. These tiny elastics are used by orthodontists, dentists, and people who wear braces. Piping suppliers may also carry them as bridles for cane drone reeds. Double or triple the elastic over the blades of the reed at shoulder level. Slide the bridle down to the bottom of the blades. Now, as you move the bridle up the blades, the reed will get easier, particularly once you approach the shoulder of the reed. This is an excellent aid, along with squeezing, to making a reed easier. The advantage of the bridle is that if the reed gets easier as it blows in, you can just slide the bridle off. Let's add the dental elastics to our maintenance kit. One thing to remember about the rubber band bridle: as you slide the bridle up the blades of the reed, the top hand notes of the chanter will get sharper. If you have to slide the bridle up onto the reed tips, you'll end up with some top hand notes that are too sharp or even distorted. If this is the case, you're probably working with a reed that is too hard to be fixed by a rubber band bridle alone. Now, you should consider shaving or sanding your reed. Taking wood off a reed must be done very selectively, because too much can ruin a potentially good reed. However, if you're working with a reed that's already too hard to blow, and you're probably not going to play it anyway, you might as well experiment with some shaving. There are two ways to take cane off a reed. One is with a factory sharp utility knife. Sharpness is the key. The other way is with some light grade sandpaper, between 200 and 240 grade. Neither way is better or worse than the other, but some people tend to prefer one or the other. There are two main areas on the reed which can be shaved. First is the middle of the reed, on the shoulders or sound box, here. The second area is the sides of the reed, along the edges, all four edges on both sides of the reed. If you're working with a small shouldered or molded reed, such as this one, both areas are viable targets. If you're working with a ridge cut reed, such as this one, you may wish to stick to the edges of the reed. The blades in a ridge cut reed are very thin along the shoulders, and you don't want to take too much wood off this area. Now, these are not hard and fast shaving rules. Shaving techniques vary as much as players do. Pipers very quickly develop their own shaving techniques. Once you know where to shave a reed and what to use, shaving techniques are pretty straightforward. When using the knife, use a fresh blade. Give your hand lots of support on the table. Find a shaving position that's comfortable for you, like this, maybe like this. Scrape the reed lightly. Hold the blade perpendicular to the reed blades. Scrape, don't carve. Work in small increments. As you can see, it's not difficult, and you'll get better with practice. If you're going to use sandpaper, fold the sandpaper over the edge of a table or a small block, like this. To sand the middle of the reed, move the reed up and down the sandpaper like this. To sand the bottom edges, hold the reed like this and round off the corners. You should take less cane off the middle of the reed than you will off the lower edges, where the blades are much thicker. Take equal amounts off each side or edge of the reed so that the blades are identical. Take off small amounts and blow the reed in your mouth frequently. Remember, you can't put the wood back on, so test often. As you get the reed near to the weight you want, you might even want to test it in the bagpipe between shavings. And I suggest you leave the reed just a little bit harder than you'd like, because it may get easier during blowing in. I've suggested that you not be afraid to experiment. I have a friend who's done a lot of experimenting, and he's learned how to make ridge-cut reeds very easy. He literally carves a gouge in the shape of a C out of all four edges of the reed at the shoulders, like this. He's ruined many reeds as he's learned how to do this, but he's made many difficult reeds very playable. These are some very basic shaving methods. You should know that as you take cane off the blade of a reed, it will flatten up some of the notes in the chanter, particularly the D, E, and the F. When I say that you can ruin a reed by shaving, this is usually how you'll do it, with a D, E, or F that is overly flat or distorted. I find that what works best for a hard reed is a combination of shaving, squeezing, blowing in, and an elastic band bridle. Let's add the knife and the sandpaper to our maintenance kit. Now that we've done all this shaving and work on this reed, you may be wondering, how easy should a reed be in my bagpipe? I think that a soloist with 3 or more years piping experience should be able to play at peak performance for 45 minutes to an hour without a break. A band player may be playing a slightly harder reed for the band, but that person still should be able to play for 12 to 15 minutes without a break with no undue strain. Now that you've found your ideal chanter reed, how do you take care of it? Here are some suggestions. Do not lick, bite, or suck on your chanter reed. Do not leave your chanter and reed in the bagpipe when you put the pipes away. Put it in its reed protector, as we discussed earlier. Don't knock or chip the reed as you take it in and out of the bagpipe or the reed protector. Clean any signs of mold off your chanter reed if you ever see it there. Mold means that your reed is retaining too much moisture. You may wish to leave the chanter and reed sitting out for 10 or 15 minutes periodically after you play. There's a lot you will learn about chanter reeds as you become more experienced and experiment. Don't put up with a substandard chanter reed. It is the heart of your bagpipe and has much to do with the enjoyment and musicality of your instrument.